Okay. I think I am actually really early. This is the first time in a long time that I'm actually early. Wow. When it comes to gossip, I'm actually on time. So, hey guys, what's up? I'm here to talk about and give my full opinion on this whole. They call themselves Pan Africans, so we'll just say Pan African drama that has been happening in the is it Back to Africa Pan African sector of YouTube? I find it to be very, very interesting because all of these people's channels I've watched for almost 2 years, and I will say that all of these people are personalities to me. I don't know any of these people behind the scenes. I don't have any of their numbers. I haven't met any of them in person. Would I love to meet some of them in person? Sure, why not? But this really has made me understand that everyone is just a human being, and some of these people who come on here and have like these big names, they all just have like the same ego, the same wanting to belong, the same, they get upset and they expose everybody. So I wanted to first start off with Alexis Fowler because I was actually really disappointed with this girl because the way that she came off in a lot of these chats was that, she's a girl's girl. She's just so sweet. She's so quiet. She's so polite. Like, she's so dainty. And the transformation of that to her cursing, her calling people out of their name, her just being really, really angry and kind of turning into a monster and letting the hurt that she felt, um, justify her exposing other people's secrets, her exposing the wrongs that other people have done behind the scenes, her exposing things that were told to her in confidence is just absolutely amazing to me because I don't think that somebody hurting your feelings gives just cause for you to make a video and talk about, well, this person does this person is fat, this person is ugly, this person did this to me, this person did that to me. Like, if you're angry at Prince Dynastamir, then just keep it at Prince Dynastamir. What does Brandon, what does American Rifleman, what does Hustle Smart, what do any of these characters have to do with what Prince Dynastamir did to you? How are any of them responsible for what Prince Dynastamir did to you? You know what I mean? And to me, people like that, when they're angry and then they just start exposing other people's secrets, it's like, what type of loyalty do you have? Because I've fallen out with some people in my past as well. That doesn't give me the right to now, years later, come online and say, oh, well, she did this, she did that. Meanwhile, I'm not here talking about what I did, right? I don't like the fact that she made a video exposing what other people did. But then if people were to retaliate and make videos about things that they didn't like about her, she would then play the victim solely because she's the only female in this group. So I don't know, like I just feel like a lot of what she did was projecting and it was wrong. But yeah, like, before I get into it, if anyone is here, just say hi. I know it's been a while. I'm not even gonna make excuses. Like me and Mr. Uganda have pretty much been on the same thing. We've just been we okay, let me explain it like this. Mr. Uganda and I are like at we are like at critical points in our lives in our 20s, right? So we came to YouTube during the onset of the pandemic when the world was closed, when we literally like had no other choice than to be locked at home, right? But now that the world has opened up, it's like we're moving on with our lives. Like we're moving on with our lives professionally, romantically, in just so many aspects. We've moved on with our lives that it's not that this community has become less important to us, because I can say for me, for instance, I still watch YouTube. I still I don't always use my actual name to comment, but I'm still here. But I'll be honest with you, like for me to sit down and watch a 3-hour live stream, I can do that if I'm multitasking and doing something else, but for me to like sit down like the way that I used to just be so excited, and this sector has also changed so much. Like Black Sit is not really here anymore like that. She's completely changed. Black Acres of the Gambia, that content has gotten so boring. Like who cares? Um there's this Black American channel that I used to watch, and she now gave birth to a kid. So I think she's even becoming more mature because, she's a mom now. So it's like so many people in this sector, we've had changes in our own lives, and we're also getting older, like we're growing up. So it's like we just have other things to think about. And I'll just say it like this. People used to think that I used to like, yes, I used to make a little bit of money on YouTube, but it was never anything that was sustaining me. Like, it was never anything that I looked at it as a career. And I always told myself if I was to take YouTube as a career, it wouldn't be in this sector. You know, like, no offense, there's someone here I really respect, and he still streams like almost every day. I've seen his paychecks, and it's like, yeah, like he's in Africa, so that can sustain him, but $200-300 cannot sustain my lifestyle, respectfully speaking. So anyways, let me just get into it. I'm gonna play the Alexis Fowler video. And Alexis Fowler, I put your name at the title. So if you do watch this is not me hating on you, but I'll just be honest with you. I've lost a lot of respect for you because I had this image of you as a moderator, of you just being so nice, you being so polite, like you being the it girl, you just being like so dainty. You look at your face and you have like all these edges, like you're beautiful and gorgeous, and just seeing this transformation of you just honestly speaking, like speaking too much and exposing too much, it has made me really think, like, can I blame some of these guys for really not trusting you and really not wanting to rekindle anything with you after what you did? Because you got mad at Brandon. Let me go to her community page. Let me go to her community page because she got mad at Brandon for exposing some things, right? But Brandon came and exposed things after you already made a video. It's not like Brandon came and exposed anything about you before. He exposed your number, which I don't agree with. I'm not saying he should have done that, right? And me personally, I've also had, I wouldn't really say big issues, but I've had, you know, something with Brandon where, you know, things didn't go that well or whatever. But I mean, I would never come online and actually like go ever into detail about what happened because it's not that important. I've never met him before. Um, I have respect for him and his family, even though I never met him. You know, as someone who's my elder, you, you know, it's like I don't see myself beefing with somebody in their mid 30s. Like, I don't, you know what I mean? Like, I personally don't, you know? So I just kind of let that thing go. Anyways, and then here she's talking about getting random texts, phone calls, and screenshots of Bucci doxing my personal phone number on live is beyond disappointing. He was so paranoid showing me DMs to prove himself for nothing. I just didn't want to advertise my business on his channel anymore and was done with Pan Africanism. Not done with him as a person. It's just business. I still support a few Pan Africans, love the ideology, just that think it's hijacked and I'm evolving. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with thinking that it's hijacked. I mean, this is kind of the thing that I don't understand about the people who self-proclaim themselves to be Pan-Africans in this sector, right? I see Pan-Africanism a lot like Christianity. I see Pan-Africanism a lot like conservatives or liberals. I don't see Pan-African as an ideology where everyone has to agree with certain things to be one. I see Pan Africanism as there are like traditional Pan Africans, there are right wing Pan Africans, there are capital Pan Africans, there are like neoliberal Pan Africans. That's the thing that I see. So if somebody like, let's say, Prince Dynastamir is being accused of being too money hungry and capitalist as a Pan African, I actually don't see anything wrong with that because at the end of the day, the majority of the proceeds of the businesses that he makes are supported by African Americans, and the proceeds of the businesses go to Africans on the continent. So technically, I see that as being Pan African. I see that as counting. So I don't know how, you know, Prince Dynastamir being the way that he is hijacking Pan African. Um, Bucci Bear Brandon, I see Brandon more as an online warrior because what I've seen Brandon do most of the time is support Pan Africanism against like traditional FBA or traditional we're only Americans. Like Brandon has always been on the toes of these anti Pan Africans. So I see him also being involved in all of this. I don't think his style resonates with everyone. Like, yes, I personally don't really care for the videos where he keeps going in on Tariq Nasheed or the videos where he used to go on Dane Calloway. I didn't really care for that too much. But then at the same time, I would also see Brandon get on a panel and defend Africans against people who were speaking bad about Africans. And that was very much appreciated. So I don't like it when people say, okay, well, this is Pan African, this is not Pan African. How does anyone know like what truly is the essence of Pan Africanism when it's so broad? So that's why I don't understand why this problem even exists because I thought that there was room for everybody. But now people who are self-appointing themselves as Pan-Africans are saying, this person is not Pan-African enough. I'm more Pan-African than this person. It like, I don't see where it starts and I don't see where it stops. So that's why I don't understand why there's even a falling out, to be quite honest. So she's saying, I would never show the public his DMs of the content, info, or thoughts he willingly shared with me in confidence, while I kept it confidential because I was cool with him. Since he's blocked permanently, Brandon could have called or texted me using another phone rather than taking it to the internet. Now it backfired. The DM he is showing is of me being a bigger person, apologizing after he lashed out at me because I gave him business advice that he didn't like, which led us to not talk to for a while. Now, the question I have for Alexis is, like, if Brandon did not ask you for business advice, why did you feel the need to give him business advice? You know what I mean? Not everyone, and I feel like it's arrogant for another person to tell someone this is what you should do with your business, when whatever they're doing with their business either is working for them or doesn't work for them. If it doesn't work for them and they don't feel like changing it, what does that have to do with you? Like, who gave you the right? Are you my CFO? Are you my business partner? Are you investing into my business? Why would you tell me, you know, he didn't like my business advice. He got mad at me. Like, what makes you think like that he even wants to consult you for business advice? You know, maybe your business is in a completely different sector from his. So it's like, why would your opinion matter? You know, like, I, anyways, this has been the fourth time and I'm cutting the pattern. I viewed him as a Pan-African brother, thinking everything was good, hoping he'd understand that I didn't want to do business with him anymore. But he can't help himself, assuming and being triggered, which now led him to expose my personal number. Okay. One thing I will say about Brandon that I do agree with Alexis is Brandon does seem to be like the type of person that he doesn't have a problem with drama. Like, he doesn't have a problem with actually taking it there. Prince Dynastamir seems like someone who's more business minded and like maybe quiet and reserved. But Brandon is someone who actually lives for this stuff. Like, you could tell by his content, it doesn't bother him. So, I mean, I understand her frustration, but I don't know. Like, I honestly just feel like that's his personality, you know? And you, quote unquote, being his friend, I'm kind of confused how you didn't pick up on this before. You know, maybe that's why they say that you shouldn't mix business with pleasure, because once you do, things like this happen. You know, maybe none of these people should have collaborated on these type of levels, knowing that their personalities don't match at all. And um I know it looks like there's just a whole bunch of guys that are going against Alexis. That's what it seemed like before. But Alexis has her own people that are backing her up. It's just that her people are not as big YouTubers as Prince Dynastamir and Brandon. So, I mean, I just think it's a whole breakdown of this whole space and this whole community. And I really do think it's unfortunate because, to be honest, none of this information should be online for us to consume, but it is. And all I can say is how this became known to me is through her, right? So unless if there are receipts that she's not the one who exposed it, then I'm just going to assume that she's the one who exposed it, and everyone else is just retaliating and like coming after her, and then she's going back and defending herself against what they're saying. But I did feel bad for her when Prince Dynastamir and Brandon were talking about her, you know? But at the end of the day, this is the thing. I really don't understand the motivation of coming out and making a video about this for everyone else to consume. Because she made mention in her video that she spoke to Dynast in private about this, and Dynast was nonchalant. So then I'm like, if that's the case, like, what would be the motivation to let the rest of us know about it? Like, what was that supposed to achieve? Was that supposed to cause public opinion to not be favorable towards Dynast and Brandon? Because to me, that seems like the only motivation is to like do a smear campaign against them. And to me, that makes me think, well, if you're cool with putting out rumors that someone is cheating on his wife, that somebody scammed you, that someone is fat and ugly and that they can never be with you, then I'm not sure why you're upset when Brandon goes like, "Hey, well, I can dox you too, and then we're all good. Since it's all about doxing, then let's really go there and dox each other." You know? So I don't know why she would come online and say any of this unless if she wanted it to go back to her. Because some of the things that she said, I mean, when she was talking about his business practices, Dynast business practices, I understand, you know, saying that he's charging too much for a Sierra Leone trip. Cool. I mean, at the end of the day, you went on the trip. So, I mean, and you said that you had a great time. There were a couple of things that you didn't like, but overall, you had a good experience. You didn't qualify for the citizenship, so you couldn't get the full, like, 100% authentic experience, but you were completely fine with it. You said that the problem was when you confronted him about his bad business practices, and then he acted nonchalant, and then he kind of refused to give you your refund back of the overpayments. That's the problem that you said you experienced. So it's like, I mean, the overpayment, you could have dealt with that by disputing the transaction at your bank. How he conducts his business practices, you said he was nonchalant. There are some people who just have those type of personalities, like me. Like, I'm not used to being criticized, right? So if somebody criticizes a piece of my work, like, I'm not going to act angry. I'm just going to act like I didn't really hear it because I'm just not used to criticism. And I don't know, maybe that's arrogance, maybe that's the way that I was brought up, but some of us are like that. It doesn't mean that we don't care. It just means, like, okay, you don't like it. Well, okay. Other people did. So if you're the minority who didn't like it, then that's unfortunate. If enough people come to me and tell me they didn't like it, then I'll change. But if it's only a couple of people who said they didn't like it, then you have to give me time to do something about it, to care or not to care, right? So I'm just gonna go ahead and start off with a little bit of her video.
gave him donations, invested is a commission-based program where I provide Dynas a promo code, which is featured in my commercial that I made him. And every time this image, due to being accused of Tyro, who's Nigerian, selling plots of land in Nigeria, and they were collecting.
Okay, okay. I completely forgot about this. She starts the video about talking about how Dynast didn't properly vet people um, on his panel before advertising their businesses. Now, looking back at these events were from like 2, 3 years ago, right? And I agree. Like Dynast really did not do a good job vetting people. I think he just added people who he liked and just promoted them on his channel. But if you look at his channel from then to now, you do see a difference where he now only promotes his own businesses. Like he doesn't really promote he doesn't really have live streams with like random business people like he used to back in the day. So I feel like that's growth, and that's like that's doing something. That's changing, that's becoming better. That's what I feel about Dynast. That he's learning and he's becoming better. Because at the end of the day, you can't say that it was like okay, you can't say it was Dynast that promoted Lou Major and Taiwo, but I mean, how was he supposed to know that they were scammers? Like, how was he supposed to know that? I mean, this was before anybody did their investigations, and he came out, he didn't really sound that apologetic, which people don't like and they don't. But I really do think that's just his personality. Like, I don't think that he really felt the need to apologize because he wasn't the one who was doing the scamming. He was only responsible for advertising people who were doing the scamming. Yeah, I don't know.
Funds from Dynas' audience to an investment bank account that supposedly never existed, allegedly. When this business venture got sour as investors didn't receive their investments or verifications of the land or investment bank account, Lou Major, Taiwo, and Dynas was pointing the finger at each other allegedly. As more controversy, frustration, and anger grew, it resulted in Dynas deleting the videos like it never happened. Many times, other content creators and individuals who saw these videos in real time accused Dynas of not properly vetting people and or being complicit of the scams for profit, allegedly. In my opinion, Dynas doesn't go into full detail of what happened, acting nonchalant towards the accusations, which others can attest to. Dynas' first move is to delete the videos of evidence of his controversy, never bring it up, resulting in his audience eventually forgetting and continuously supporting him for the sake of Pan-Africanism in hopes of building Black utopia through him as a leader. I saw and brushed aside Dynas introducing sketchy sales pitches of business ventures. But like his audience, which are an older demographic, through time I forgot the details of that situation, brushing it aside and continued supporting Dynas. Dynas knows that his audience have short attention spans and will eventually forget his controversies after he deletes his videos to keep a good image. Lo and behold, most of those deleted videos are now in my possession, and I will rewatch them, regaining my memory of what happened and report my findings if necessary, since I am so analytical, which Dynas hates. Behind the scenes via WhatsApp, I defended and expressed that I wanted to invest in experienced Dynas tourists despite what his peers said behind his back. For an example, Hustle Smart from Simply's Academy and Brandon Tucker, aka Bucci Bear from Pan Africanism Strikes Back, made shady comments about his tours and a tour member. Specifically, Brandon suggested for me to go to Kenya with him instead of going on tour with Dynas to Sierra Leone, which Brandon said there would be less begging in Kenya. And Hustle Smart complained about Dynas overcharging and making large profits in a single tour, plus spreading rumors to me from supposedly Dynas and or Brandon.
Okay, okay, that's the minute where I'm just like, if you guys are all friends and you guys are all like speaking bad about each other and saying bad things about each other, then why did you stay in that group? Like, was there no loyalty between any of you guys that all of you guys could just, you know, say horrible things about each other? Like, that's what I don't understand. Like, why did you agree to be a part of this group? Why did this not bother you until now? And now, when you're angry, now when you feel like you've been attacked by Dynast and Brandon, is when now you want to talk about, oh, well, he said this about him. He said this about him. Like, what did you say about him to him? And what did you say about him to him? You're not talking about that. You're only talking about what he said about him behind his back and what he said about him behind his back, which makes me think you also said something about him behind his back to him, you know? So, I mean, I don't know why you're saying this. Are you trying to make yourself, you know, are you trying to victimize yourself? Because you clearly were engaging in this gossip and back talk as well. So I don't know what the point of reporting that now is.
about Dinah's former tour member and a YouTuber, A Black Beauty, accusing her of hooking up with multiple Nigerian men to afford staying in Nigeria longer. Because how the girl feels about me, even though I don't have beef with her and wanted to support her business in my last interaction with her on Dinah's Live, I guess Hustle Smart thought it was safe to spread rumors about her to me, but I gave her the benefit of the doubt still to this day and never understood why grown men would be speculating about her in the first place, being feminine and dusty. I seen it as salty men being jealous, envious, and hateful towards a young lady finding her own path in Africa, in which Diners allegedly hosts and condones these type of men occasionally making misogynistic remarks towards black women, which are contradicting as Diners adds onto it and laughs along on his platform, letting his guests do more of the talking. Some of the disturbing statements I've heard Diners say over the years are, first statement is, quote, I don't date single black women with kids, end quote. Meanwhile, he's a baby daddy slash single father who made a black woman a single mother. The next statement that he said, quote, I am not interested in marriage, end quote. Then another quote, I want to have more kids in the future, end quote. But if you're planning to have more kids but don't plan on getting married, you're just trying to create more single mothers. I am not a single mother, but I find these statements and his logic to be disturbing from a supposedly Pan African and pro black man who's pushing 50. And this is someone that you guys want to follow behind and support? Okay. But because
Yeah, I just think that, like, at that point, I just felt like at this point in the video, she was just so hurt that she was just nitpicking his character, because I feel like she knew all of this, right? She knew all of this for a long time. Why is it now that all of this is being brought out? And to be honest, if anyone here has ever watched Dynast or even followed him, you already knew by looking at this man that this is what he felt. Like, I could tell. Like, because I was, me myself, I was wondering, I'm like, oh, he has a kid? Oh, but he never talks about the kid's mom. Oh, okay. Well, I guess he's not interested in marriage. There are some people out there that are like, listen, so long as I live in the West, I'm never getting married because I don't believe in the institution. I don't believe in the government getting involved. Like, people have their reasons, people have their excuses. Uh, Has he been the type that has preached about building families and two-parent households? The last time I checked, he hasn't really made mention of that, right? So it's his prerogative. You know, I've heard people with kids, my cousins, oh, I'm never gonna marry a baby mom and they have kids. Like, this is stuff that I hear all the time. Like, to me, it's not a big deal, you know? And let's be honest here. The reason why a man would say they would never date a baby mom is different from a reason a woman would say they would never date a man with kids. Like, we all know this. We all know this. If you're a man and you have kids, 9 times out of 10, you don't have primarily custody of them. Like, you only see them once in a while. They usually live with their mom. So, I mean, looking at it from that standpoint, I get it. Does that make him disgusting, a bad person? No. Him saying that he doesn't agree with marriage, does that make him a disgusting, a bad person? Absolutely not. I don't even think that it's even an institution that a lot of people partake in anyways nowadays. So it's whatever. Who cares?
Because he is seen as
Like the thing that bothered me mostly about this video that she made is it's like she wanted to down his character so bad when it's like you're talking about a business practice that you don't agree with. So what does a business practice that you don't agree with have to do with the man's character? What does that have to do with how he decides to live his life as a single man? That's kind of like what I didn't agree with, but
charming and persuasive as a salesman in a dashiki, feeding his audience what they want to hear, demonizing America and romanticizing Africa in the name of panafricanism, his audience ignores his red flags like how I once did. So that's the backstory of what I gathered from Dinus over the years. And now we are going to talk about me investing in his tours and what happened behind the scenes that he hasn't been truthful about. In 2022, I had officially placed a $500 deposit into the Sierra Leone tour for November, which at the time, the specific tour costed me $4,500 for the non-citizenship package and $4,650 for the citizenship package for those who were eligible for the Sierra Leone citizenship. And I was told by Dinus to invest in the African Ancestry DNA maternal test kit to see if I am eligible for the Sierra Leone citizenship and passport, which would be processed and granted during the trip for those who has results tracking their DNA to Sierra Leone and its people like the Mendes and Tennes. But my results with my maternal test through African ancestry, it came up to be Cameroon with the Takar people. I had made a live of me taking the African Ancestry DNA maternal test kit, informing about Dinus's tour and citizenship program while encouraging one of my viewers to come along with me, which she did. This was my first time meeting her. We looked out for each other. You can see her all throughout my vlogs, which you can view in my First Time in Africa vlog series in Morocco and Sierra Leone when I documented the entire tour day by day. Despite our differences, my entire experience with Dinus's tours wasn't all that bad. In my opinion, and from other tour members, Dinus is allegedly nonchalant about customer complaints, allegedly, and has bad customer service and communication skills, and has no integrity to tell the truth when he's under fire. Allegedly. Outside.
okay, so she just said that her tour wasn't that bad and that the problem that she has with him is that he's nonchalant with customer service issues and criticisms. If that's the case, then I mean, I don't know. It's I feel because she herself is a business owner. She herself is self-employed. So let's say that she made labels or graphic designs for somebody else, and someone else said, "Hey, I don't agree with your price point. I don't agree with this or that or this and that." And she just were to receive a bunch of complaints, right? I don't think she would be as I think she would be offended as well, right? Like saying that Prince Dinah Samir is nonchalant about complaints that he receives. Well, what are the types of complaints that he receives? How often does he receive complaints, And did you even give him time to okay, did you even give him time to correct those wrongs like in a second trip? Why didn't you wait and see like at the Sierra Leone tour, the Nigeria tour coming afterwards, if those issues were amended, right? Like, why did you all of a sudden expect that, especially you being someone who is really close to him, that you being critical of him is just going to entice him to say, oh, I got to change my whole itinerary because one person didn't like it. There are some people who like the gutter, okay? They like the like jungle, and I hate to use the word, but they like the jungle immersive experience of Africa that another sect of people would say, "Hey, I paid like $5,000 plus. Why would you take me to the gutter? Looking at Prince Dynus and how he markets his tours for people who like that immersive, like in your face village African experience, right? So if you were trying to get, the I'm going to I'm going to Freetown. I'm going to downtown Freetown. Like I'm going to the downtown square. I'm gonna chill with the big boys, the big girls. I'm gonna go to the big club, fancy security everywhere experience. That's not what Dynast has ever like advertised, right? So like when she's talking about customer service experience, Kiki already broke this down. If you're talking about the itinerary, um, Kiki already broke it down that the when you're booking the trip, the itinerary says, "Hey, this is not 100% accurate. Don't, don't expect that if the ticket says we're flying Air Senegal, that we are actually going to fly Air Senegal. And if we're going to be here at this date, at this time, we're going to do this at this date and this time." Like, Dynast already covered his tracks with that. So you can't even go to sue him or anything like that because he already said, "Hey, this is Africa, anything goes. I say we're going to do this day. I feel like doing something else, or I feel like this is going to be a better experience. Hey, it's going to change. You just have to go with the flow on this trip." Like, I don't, I and I honestly think that a lot of the character flaws she made about Dynast were not really fair. Like saying that he's reserved, he's quiet, he doesn't seem excited. Who would go to Sierra Leone times and times and times over and not love where they're going? You know what I mean? I just feel like a lot of the criticism she gave Dynast, her herself being a business owner, if someone came to her, had her product or invested in her service and said the exact same thing to her, I don't think she would be as like calm and as understanding as she's trying to accuse Dynast of not being, to be quite honest.
Of that, he worked with my financial schedule, accepting payments all throughout the months up until weeks before the trip. He gave me experiences and brought me places that would be more difficult for me to obtain without his help. He diversified our experience, taking us to villages, local restaurants, upscale restaurants, giving us street food and drinks, exploring the nightlife, showing us historic places and things, and most importantly, providing citizenship and passports to tour members who were eligible. Overall, I had a blast, which I expressed and shown throughout my vlog series, being enthusiastic, open minded, and going with the flow, even though I saw red flags. One of the major red flags was his itinerary, which I and other tour members saw errors he needed to fix. Even I offered to edit them myself, but he refused before we even went on the trip. For an example, in the itinerary, it states that we were flying with Air Senegal with a layover in Dakar, Senegal, when we were actually flying in Air Morocco with a layover in Casablanca, Morocco. Two major differences. That's a major error, which he could easily fix. And he should make the itinerary as accurate as possible, especially with his customers being older and take their schedules very seriously. A few tour members complained to me, each other, and Dynast about the itinerary. Plus, the itinerary included places we never went to, which Dynast uses the excuse that Africa is unpredictable to warrant him not to revise the itinerary at all, even with the error of the different airlines and layover locations. A lot of people who invested $4,000 to $5,000 for a 10-day tour would be upset about not being able to go to places that's mentioned in the itinerary.
Okay, so Kiki did a video where she was comparing his tour prices to other tour prices. I do think that his tours are expensive because if you see over here, these are the prices without the flight. So I personally do think that these prices are expensive, right? However, these prices are affordable to some people. Dynas clearly has enough people who are willing to pay these prices where I don't even I can't tell somebody how to run their business, right? I can't tell somebody who's selling me Coke for 750 that 750 is too expensive. You need to sell it for $2 because that's what the majority of our demographic could pay. And I also feel like complaining about the prices is very detrimental to A, Pan-Africanism that people like to talk about, and B, to the global image of honestly this demographic. I really do. Because I feel like if somebody could spend $5,000 on a Versace Gucci belt, then someone has the right to spend $5,000 on a trip to Africa plus the plus the actual flight. That's their prerogative. There's actually nothing wrong with that. And if we look at Prince Dynastamir, he's done very well of having longevity in his career. You know, he has over 120K subs, but his channel has been around forever. So at that point, if he wants to charge 10,000 per person, somebody is going to pay it. It literally has nothing to do with me. She clearly already went on the trip. She clearly was able to afford it. She clearly was going to pay for it again. So it's like, I don't know. If you expected something else with the price point that you paid for, I mean, you should have kind of educated yourself a little bit more before going. Like, I don't, that whole oh, he's charging too much. I don't have that kind of money. Just say you don't have that kind of money. Just say you're not interested in paying that kind of money to go to Africa, but you probably would be interested to pay that money to go somewhere else. But don't knock a man for making money. You know, he's where a lot of people want to be, especially in this economy. So kudos to him for that. At least he's being honest, you know, like he's not telling you, oh, the trip is this much, and then you know you end up reading the paperwork and there are a whole bunch of hidden fees that you didn't know about. Like, this is for a certain class and group of people, and it is what it is. There's nothing wrong with that.
itinerary and would feel robbed. For me, knowing that the itinerary was all over the place ahead of time, I went with the flow, being enthusiastic and open minded. Dennis would inform us of what was happening days before, a day before, or the day of. I do remember in our WhatsApp group chat that he had sent us a screenshot of notes of the places that he was going to take us, but it wasn't the official itinerary. We also have to keep in mind at times the schedule will change and be delayed due to prioritizing the citizenship and passport processing, like getting their fingerprints scanned and bank accounts set up, which I understood. In my opinion, he could have made the itinerary as accurate as possible, changing the airline names and the layovers. But when it came to everything else, I could understand how there might be changes due to different schedules and availability, which I didn't really make a huge deal with the itinerary when other tour members were complaining about it. For me, another red flag was his communication skills. To me, Dinus is a bit off. He comes off too introverted and socially awkward to lead people in his tours or in general. My first time discovering Dinus and watching his live panels, he would barely talk, muted, with blank stares, allowing his guests to do more of the talking, which I thought was odd and was wondering what was wrong with him. From analyzing his character during the tour, in my opinion, he was not as present and enthusiastic while guiding us throughout the
So I found this part of the video extremely funny because she commented in another video that, oh, actually, she commented on the live that she did that she believes Dynast is on the spectrum, that he's autistic. And I'm not laughing because I find that funny, but I'm laughing because how can you, as a non medical professional, diagnose somebody? You know what I mean? How could you how could you just say, "Oh, maybe he's on the spectrum. Maybe he's this. Maybe he's slow." Okay, well, I just So because he doesn't like to respond, because he's a little more reserved, maybe he doesn't just like to show certain emotions, he's all of a sudden socially awkward. I thought being socially awkward nowadays was something that people aspire to be. Like, I'm being dead serious. I thought being socially awkward is just how people do things now after the pandemic. So it's like, to be, I just found it funny because it's like, who gave you the right? Who gave you the right to make? Who gave you the right to, make that diagnosis? And it's like, so what if he was on the spectrum? What if he, like, he's still getting the bag? Like, are you jealous? He's making do with what God gave him. Like, kudos to him. If he's on the spectrum, please, I want to be on that spectrum too, because he's making it work, okay? He's making. Oh my gosh. You could really just tell that she's just really, really upset and she's really bitter. And now it's like just tearing him apart. It's crazy because she said she noticed this the first video that she watched of him, and that never seemed to be an issue, but now it's a problem when you guys are not closer, when you decided to not associate your brand with him anymore, which I'll get to, because at the end of the day, where you messed up is lining your brand with his, because now if you go ahead and you try to tear him and his character apart and pull him down so low like that, the only question I have is, what should I think of you for aligning yourself and aligning your brand with somebody like that? You know, all of the vices that he had or he has never seemed to bother you back then. But now all of a sudden, when you guys are not cool anymore, this is his problem. This is that problem. This is why I didn't like him. I noticed this red flag, but you still decided to put your actual governmental name and business with his. Like, no offense, but I still remember your advertisements on his channel. So there are going to be some people who probably stopped watching his channel a long time ago and are still going to associate you with that channel. So I don't know. Hey, was it worth it? I have to ask now. Was it worth it? Was the temporary, money, uh, support that you got from him, was it worth it?
Tour, but became highly animated when he picked up his camera to make content, which me and another tour member noticed while reflecting. He would give us information that's needed for us to know where we're going, what to expect, but would be more to himself, depending on locals to inform us on things like historical monuments when at times it was difficult for us to understand them. But we understand that some of them know information that Dinus doesn't know, but we would like, or I would like to see him be more communicative on the information and history that he knows of these certain places. I've been on local tours here in the United States, and usually your tour operator is enthusiastic, reassuring, and informative of the places he or she is taking you to. In my opinion, I felt like Dinus was a shepherd in leading us as sheep into Sierra Leone, as it didn't feel like there was genuine compassion with being a tour operator, like it was a chore or something he must do to make a living. Next, I want to address Dinus's nonchalant attitude about the Temne family reunion situation. Although he did tell us that the Temne villagers here in this specific place, as individuals, are aggressive, we didn't know the magnitude of it. It was visibly uncomfortable sitting and or standing in one place. These Temne individuals at this particular village aggressively begged us for money, women and children, while Dinus watched and filmed it. Only a few Temne men tried to stop it and guard us, but they couldn't control the women and children, as Dinus watched, filmed, and shown praising them fist pumping the air. The footage doesn't lie. It showed that you didn't do anything. You didn't guard us. You didn't tell them, hey, stop, calm down.
So she expected Dynast to get in the middle of that havoc and actually tell the villagers to stop. Like, as if they would listen to him, number one. Like, why was she expecting Dynas to protect them? Like, I don't. Oh my gosh. So he's supposed to be a tour operator, a bouncer, and a security guard. Interesting. Like, I really do think that this is a temper tantrum. I really do think that because, she already revealed her age, right? So she was born in the 90s. So she's part of the generation of people that, you know, everybody's a winner, nobody's wrong, everybody gets their way. So I just feel like there were certain things that didn't go her way and she just had no other avenue of expressing it. So now it's just like uh, everyone has to hear about it. I got to expose him. He's a scammer. He's this, he's that. He didn't do this. He didn't do that. And it's like, girl, you already paid. He already got your money. You know, what else do you want? What else do you want from him? Like, he already won the YouTube thing. He already has way more subscribers than you. He's gonna continue to have people go on his tours. That's not gonna stop. He's gonna continue to be able to live at home and travel, once or twice a year and make a whole bunch of money and also document it on YouTube and get the revenue and the proceeds from that. It's like, what else do you want from him? Like, at this point, do you want it? I think she really, people are saying that she was enamored with him. I think she had a lot of respect from him, right? I don't think it was a romantic thing. I really don't. I just feel like she expected more and she held herself with more regard and of more importance to him. And she didn't, like, he didn't feel the same way, or he doesn't feel the same way, or and that really disappointed her, and I don't think she really knew how to come to grips with it, that, hey, you might see me this way, but I only see you as another tour member, or I see you as my moderator. Like, I'm just going on tour with my moderator, and that's it. And she probably was like just really disappointed. So she kind of just did this video to like retaliate and like tell her story, and get some of us to really just bond with her in her sadness. And it's like, I'm really sorry that you had to go through this, but I don't see the trauma that you experienced in this trip. Like, I really don't. Like, you must have not done your research about Sierra Leone. I'm not saying it's a bad country. I'm not saying it, but I'm saying you must have not done your research about, you're going to West Africa, like, you're going to have certain things that happen. Like, Dynas could have only shielded you for so long. And some people talking about, oh, the prices are so high, this or that, and this and that. I really feel like these Americans were really, really lucky that Dynas actually took you to lodge at a hotel. Had you guys gone to some like real local spots, I feel like you guys would have really seen some deep, deep things that you guys would not recover from. So I think, given the tools that he had, I think that he did an okay job. I didn't go on the tour, but majority of people who went on the tour said they had a wonderful time. And even in the video, she goes on to say she had a good time. She had a good experience that she would have never been able to get by going by herself. So it's like, I don't know what you're complaining about, and you're saying that this is Dynastamir, a deep dive. Oh my gosh.
You were just recording. You were praising the situation. On top of that, we paid for our names at the naming ceremony, which we didn't have to do at the Mende family reunion, and Chase onto the bus, which Dinus watched. Just to verify that he did, while we were running into the bus, chased by these individuals, without thinking and being nervous, a tour member threw money at these individuals. Yes, he had threw money at the group of Temne villagers who were chasing us to stunt or distract them from continuously chasing us onto the bus. That didn't work because other Temne individuals went on the bus anyway to continuously aggressively beg us for money. Dinus had followed behind him, coming onto the bus, telling the guy that he was wrong, which we all can agree on. That day, I and other tour members complained to him about that Temne family reunion, with me suggesting him to take his next tour to a different Temne village where they aren't so aggressively begging, because it was such a bad experience for me. And I had sent the raw footage and or screenshots directly to Dinus in our group chat on WhatsApp, which we laughed it off, but amongst each other we discussed that it was the worst experience in the tour. Lastly, I want to talk about his business practices, which had put the nail in the coffin for me. Before or after we went to Kent Beach, which was during the time of my shrimp taco street food vlog, I asked Dinus about joining another tour, which he had informed me to come on his Nigeria tour. Since I had also brought up the idea to join his affiliate program to promote his business on my videos, referring my viewer to invest in his tour coming along with me and being a potential returning customer, I suggested he should give me a better price, which he negotiated my next tour with him to Nigeria to only cost me $39.50. After the Sierra Leone tour was over, I went back to corporate. I made payments, excited to go to his Nigeria tour in August of 2023. With one particular payment, Dinus asked me to send the money via Zelle, which is connected directly through my Chase bank account. Since I went on his previous tour and had no issues with him regarding payments, I agreed. Lo and behold, I now regret it because when I sent him a $400 payment towards the Nigeria tour, there was a glitch, sending two $400 payments instead of one. So altogether, I had accidentally sent him $800 by accident instead of $400. At the
Hi, Joyce. So Kiki loves Nigeria. Shout outs to her. I really appreciate how analytical she is. Already covered the situation. But what I wanted to say is if there was a glitch in the system, you're using the app Zelle, right? You should have reported it to your bank. You should have reported to the app. You could have got your money back that way. You said you accidentally paid um Dinus twice, but it wasn't you, it was the system, the glitch in the system who accidentally paid Dinus twice. Okay, well, things like that happen. If you accidentally pay me twice, I'm going to automatically think that you meant to give me those two payments, right? And I don't know. I don't know the turnover time between her letting Dynast know that there was a glitch in the system. So at that point, Dynast already did something with the money. Like he already paid something towards her tab for the trip to something. So it's like if he literally said, I don't have the $400 to give you, I'm sorry. It's like just go to your bank, dispute it with them. Say, hey, the app made a mistake. I didn't mean to pay him twice and get your money back. It's really not something that I really feel like Dynast should be villainized for. Like, oh, he stole my $400. Like, you literally just said there was a glitch in the system that made you give him an extra 400. So it's like, blame the system. I don't know what else you have to do. I don't know where he, you know, his policy is no refunds. So if it's no refunds, it's no refunds. Like, this is why if you have a credit card, I always say try to make payments with your credit card because it's to me it's so much easier to get your money back from a credit card than it is from a bank. like from a checking account in a bank. Like just pay with your credit card. Duh.
At the time that it happened, I didn't realize it. But when I checked my bank statement, at first I wasn't trying to make it a big deal about it. But when I realized it was a glitch and error, when I showed him my bank statements with the two $400 payments with two different codes proving it was a glitch, Dinas refused to give me back the money when I asked him multiple times for the extra $400 back, which made me really upset. When Dinas realized I was upset, he called me, claiming he had already used the $800 for my hotel accommodations, even though I didn't pay all of the money needed for him to pay for all of the accommodations. Beforehand, I only gave him enough money where he gave me my flight accommodations. Although his policy states there's no refunds, when it comes to company mistakes and payment glitches of a customer overpaying for something, usually businesses bend their policies for fairness, which I've done in the past for my own customers. Even recently, Dinas refused to give me back the $400 after Kiki from Kiki Loves Nigeria repeatedly asked him to give me back the money, which she said he was being stubborn and refused, which I thank her for even trying. I wasn't even trying to ask for the full refund of the Nigeria trip, even though I ended up not going. Not even the full $800. I just wanted the $400, which was a part of the glitch of me paying double. Now, before I forget, one huge red flag that stood out to me was Dinus misinforming me about my visa requirements and doing some backdoor activity allegedly. What I mean is, I was asking and verifying with Dinus about visa requirements I needed to get my Nigeria visa. He misinformed me about what I needed to bring to the office, and when I got there, the lady turned me around because I didn't have all the requirements, which made me frustrated with Dinus because I asked him multiple times what I needed and he gave me the wrong information. I prepared for hours, missing work, and wasted an entire day trusting his guidance. He later on told me if anything, I don't have to apply for a visa here in the United States and still go to Nigeria and pay a guy at the airport for a visa when I arrive in Nigeria, which seems to me be some illegal backdoor activity allegedly that I
She clearly she clearly is not she clearly is not too familiar with West Africa because what Dynast was suggesting was probably one of the cheapest options, to be honest. I mean, unless the guy just is like somebody who was just trying to get money from Americans, but I mean, see, Dynast, he's a prince, right? So he has a lot of hookups, he has a lot of things. I think that this is a not understanding, that she's just not understanding cultural differences because what Dinah suggested for someone like me and for people who I know is completely normal. You just pay for things at the airport, you just pay for things to do, you just pay for convenience. You pay for people who you know in government or people who you know working at the airport to do things for you. Like that's how you get things done in a lot of West African countries. So there was absolutely nothing backdoor or mysterious about this. You're going to a country where you can literally pay to skip the line. uh, Ethically, morally, I know some people have a problem with that, but hey, if you're in a society where everyone else is doing that and it benefits you, use your privilege. Why not?
I don't want to be a part of. My intuition kicked in, sharing my concerns, wanting to do things legally here in the United States, contemplating on going and thinking about postponing the Nigeria trip later to be more prepared to get my requirements together because I was already running out of time. Then when I asked how much money I would have to pay this Nigerian guy at the airport in Nigeria, Dinah complained that I was being too analytical and to go with the flow, refusing to tell me how much money I would have to pay for this visa, which was very odd because I only asked to be financially prepared. And Dinus is running a business where he should be transparent on how much money people have to pay. So for him to refusing how much money I would have to pay for this Nigerian guy to give me a visa at Nigeria, that was a huge red flag. And something was telling me, girl, don't even go with him. Due to my frustrations resigning from my last job, working on my business, I decided to postpone the Nigeria trip to 2024 to give me time to prepare and get my visa the right way, which Dinus was okay with. But after this issue with Dinus being stubborn, not giving me back my money, the $400 from the glitch, me discovering other complaints about him, and how he treated me privately, I decided to cancel my Nigeria trip and the tour, cutting him from my affiliate program and disassociating myself from him. I had also asked him to delete my video he asked to upload on his channel to promote his tours, which he said okay with no concern. I informed him about being disappointed in him not resolving my issues with my extra payment, deciding to keep my flight accommodations, and in return he just said okay, again being nonchalant like he didn't care. But before he was acting so engaged and present when he was persuading me to pay for his tour, being fake, which is one of the reasons why I call him a fake Pan-African, because a person who really cares about his community, customers, and legacy, let alone a content creator who reports to her audience about her experiences, he wouldn't treat any customer like how he treated me. And I was just really disappointed in him. When I brought up my issues with other tour members and peers, they expressed their complaints as well, and some I can't even repeat. One admitting that they thought he had a listening ear, and it seems like he didn't make any changes at all from the complaints, agreeing that he is nonchalant. Another tour member expressed that he didn't like the tour, even pulling Dinus aside and making his own complaint. Even with my flight accommodations, when I found issues, instead of Dinus handling it as a tour operator, he would send me random customer.
Okay, so it just seems like the rest of the video has a lot of complaints, but um the main question I do have for Alexis and a lot of these other people that are being very critical of Dynast is how does him being nonchalant about the complaints that, customers were giving him, like how does that make him not Pan-African? How does that make him a fake Pan-African, right? Because like as I explained and as I was questioning in the beginning of the video, Pan-Africanism to me never meant that it means that you have to be poor and that you have to be broke, and if you're in the business of making money, then you're evil. You're just like everyone else. Like I I feel like if you were to take the Pan-Africanism out of all of this, then what would be the problem with the tour, other than the complaints? So I kind of feel like a lot of the criticism that Dynast has received, and just like from various groups of people, I really don't think that it's valid, you know? Like I really don't think that it makes a lot of sense. Like saying that he's money hungry when his tour prices are a little more on the expensive side, but clearly, enough people have money to go on these tours and give give a chance to an experience to be with Dynast, whether people like to believe it or not. Like me, I just see Dynast as a human being like anyone else. I don't really see anything special about him. But there are people who actually pan this guy out to be a god. They pan him out to be ultra important, super important, and to be able to have an opportunity to actually be able to spend 10 days within his vicinity is like an honor. It's something that they wouldn't mind paying thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars to do, right? So they have a right to do that, you know? And if Dynast cares about if Dynast cares enough about the opinions of these people, then he'll go ahead and change his tour practices. But if he doesn't, then he doesn't. And that it is what it is. Like at the end of the day, he already won because you already gave him your money. So now it's like you're just complaining whilst he's here thinking about the next tour and how to get other people to go on the next tour. Like he's kind of done with you. So it's like, I don't know. I really don't know what her end goal was. I really don't.
Service numbers to call that didn't work sometimes, taking me days to resolve the issues, and sometimes not being able to reach customer service. At times, I had to make him help me expressing my frustrations. When I told a tour member that I had to pick my seats for my flights, she asked and questioned why he was making me do it when he's the tour operator, which is similar to a travel agent. And in response, I just replied saying that's how he ran his business with me, which I thought he would take care of all the accommodations since we are paying him $4,000 to $5,000 a piece. Therefore, I do not
You already paid him the $4 or $5,000. Like you already made him his money for the rest of the year. Like I don't know. Like does she expect people, especially people who cannot afford to go on this trip like myself, to actually feel bad for her? Because I don't.
recommend his tours, you guys. You guys are grown, can continue going on his tours, but I will not be recommending his business ventures to my audience, loved ones, and peers. I think he has poor business practices, communication, and customer service skills with no integrity because he lied and brushed over my complaints in his recent live video. When in private, he showed no real concern for my complaints when I addressed him multiple times.
And I hate to say this, but I remember when there are people in the sector like Nakamizi and others who were extremely critical of Prince Dinas Demir, and the likes of her would always defend Dinas to the end. So to me, I don't know if it's karma, I don't know what to call it, but back then, when people were trying to warn you, when people were trying to tell you, you would block them. You were one of the moderators in Brandon's channel. You would block them. You wouldn't you wouldn't be willing to listen to other people's opinions. But now all of a sudden, when things went sour with those group of people, now all of a sudden you want to be the savior, you want to be the victim, you want to be this, you want to be that. And it's like I don't buy it. I'm sorry, I really don't buy it, because I remember when I was being critical of something that Brandon said, I specifically remember you just laughing. You didn't really care. So now it's like you fell out with them. I, the thing that I have to say is, didn't you notice these vices? Didn't you notice these bad things about them when you were really close with them? I guess you didn't care because you were cool with them. But now that you're not cool with them, you want everyone else to care and everyone else to pretend and defend you. Well, I hate to say it, but Prince Dynastamir, if you're going, if it's you against Prince Dynastamir, yes, you are growing a following now because, you're talking about Prince Dynastamir and people who don't like Prince Dynastamir, but he's still gonna win. Like, he still has an army that's gonna win against you, right? So it's like, I don't know. I don't know how to feel bad for you. And one thing I really don't appreciate is you had a problem with Prince Dynastamir. I get it. Just attack him. Why did you have to bring Brandon's personal life into it? You talked about Brandon cheating on his wife with women in Kenya, supposedly bringing STDs. That's not funny. And I really hope that something like that does not happen to you in the future, and you don't have a little girl who makes a video talking about your husband going to a different country and sleeping with different women, because that what you said was completely inappropriate to be online. Like, it's one thing to call, Prince Dynastamir a scammer, whatever, okay? To now make accusations about Brandon sleeping with other women in Africa and infecting his wife and things like that, that is completely off code. That is completely moralist. Like, I can't believe you would embarrass another woman and embarrass her family. Brandon has a daughter, okay, who's old enough to be very active on the internet. And I feel like you didn't care. Like, you didn't care to put that information out there. And let me explain to you why that really really, really hurt my feelings. I've been a victim of a man not being faithful in the household. I grew up experiencing problems in my parents' marriage. So it's like when you brought that up, I'm like, do you understand what this psychologically actually means? Like, I don't, if Brandon is doing dirt and mess, just talk about his physical stature if you want to. Whatever. You know, everyone calls him that. I'm sure he doesn't care. But to now make accusations about him cheating on his beautiful, gorgeous wife. I've seen pictures of his wife. His wife is gorgeous. His wife is absent from all of this. His daughter is absent from all of this. Do not bring his family into any of this. That is completely inappropriate and so like insensitive. And as a woman, I don't understand how you could just talk like you said that Brandon told you these things and that he showed you these videos in confidence. That's what you said. So why do any of us have to know about it? How is this any of our business? I don't even like speaking about this because I feel weird about it, right? But it's like you brought it up. If Brandon was showing you videos of girls in Kenya or things that he was doing according to you, why it's like what I don't understand is why you have to tell everybody about that, right? And it's like why and another thing I have is why would Brandon feel so comfortable to send you those videos as well? Like what there's something you're not there's something that you are hiding, which I really hope in the future it gets revealed because you just talking about all of that it did it's it doesn't feel right with my spirit. It really doesn't, you know? Um Heartless. Yeah, like her talking points were so remedial. She even came after his yes. She made fun of his wife. What did he say about his wife again? About her bonnet, dry face. Like, oh my gosh. Like I said, don't talk about anyone's wife. Come on, don't do that. The only time I would think it would be appropriate for you to talk anyone's wife is if their wife came after you. You fell out with the wife's husband. You did not fall out with the wife. So leave the wife out of it. Like people don't have respect for the sanctity. I can't even speak. Sanctity of marriage anymore. It's really oh my gosh, no. I don't know if you're a Christian, but if you are a Christian, you better hope that nothing like this happens in your marriage. The way that you just nonchalantly talked about it, you better hope nothing like that happens in your marriage. I'm just saying. Because hey, truth is stranger than fiction. And oh yeah, what else did she say? She spoke about hustle smart, okay? Listen, I don't like the things Hustle Smart says either, okay? But to be honest, I see Hustle Smart more as a comedian. Like I don't really take because especially because I don't know Hustle Smart's real name. There really isn't much he could say online that I would take seriously, right? So to me, he's more of a character, right? So it's like to now talk about his looks and that he's bald and and that he doesn't look good and that you're cute. It's like she's all about looks. She's all about people who look cute. She's all about this. She's all about that. It is. And then, see, this is when, see, Brandon took revenge on you, I must say. And I'm going to play that real shortly. Hold on. Brandon went live the other day and he showed you. He showed more recent like videos of you, right? And some people were saying that you were a catfish. Now, I think you're pretty, okay? I cannot like some of the things that you do with your character, but I'm not going to sit there and say that you're ugly just because I don't like you. I'm not that type of person that says you're ugly because I don't like you or I don't like something that you do. I don't work like that. I can still think you're pretty, but when people were calling you a catfish, I really couldn't say anything because you're the same person who is calling Hustle Smart not good looking, calling Brandon pudgy, and like it's just like I don't get why you care about
Dang,
that.
what the hell do I care
Wait, let
about
me
that?
see. I'm gonna- okay, so they're gonna they're gonna show her very very soon. I'm sure some of you guys already seen her, but hold on. Actually, let me play it with the sound.
That's what they gonna say. That's what they gonna be
But
saying, man.
Alexis, hit my inbox. Hit my inbox, so I'll protect you. I'll take them all on for you.
He said he ready to. The bro said he ready to risk it all, bro. Don't play with him.
Risk it all. I'm taking Brandon with zero experience in jiu-jitsu. I don't care what I gotta do.
Why you didn't tell me he was a black belt? He said I'm taking on Brandon with zero experience.
Zero.
Zero, none, done, none. Okay, here we go. We gonna get to the bottom of this once and for all. Cause you know me, I like to yeah.
She seemed like she's too off the
Yeah.
hinges. She seemed like she'll me to you, man.
This is like
Somebody hit you.
Oh, okay.
this is one of those faces where you better have the best motherfucking attitude on earth. You better know how to make business from scratch. You better be a hell of a nurturer. You if you ain't got no kids, you better be outside playing with the neighbors' kids and shit. Babysitting for free. That's one of those faces. I'm not saying she's not attractive. I'm not saying she's ugly. I'm just saying she said I was a meatball. Like if I'm a meatball, this is all I'm saying. Come on, guys.
Thank you. Oh, this water feels so freaking good. Oh, so nice to be over here. This is where our ancestors.
And see when they were doing that, I couldn't even say anything because she had so much to say about other people's looks. This person's not cute, that person's bald, that person's this, that person's that. And one thing I like one thing I like to do is I don't really like to make fun of people. I'm not going to say I don't like to make fun of people. I do. But I don't like to make fun of people who are older, right? Like people who are in their late 40s, 50s, especially, I do not like to make fun of the way that they look because I understand that your metabolism changes as you get older. Things don't things start working a little more slowly. You can see somebody, they were in their 20s, they were really really good looking, they were really, in shape and everything. And then they get to their 40s, maybe they're a woman, they have kids, they start gaining weight, they're a man, they start getting a belly, they start going bald. So I don't really like to talk about people's looks over a certain age because I understand that I'm not going to look the same in 20 years too. I know that too. Okay? So I don't like to go there, but the way that she kept on talking about, Hustle Smart is this, is that. It's like Hustle Smart, I think he's somewhere in his mid to late 40s. Let the man live, okay? He has a daughter that's in his 20s. Just let the guy be. Okay, let the looks should not even, don't stop worrying about hustle smarts. Look, now the things that he says about certain women, yes, get on him about that, but who cares about the way that he looks? And then she was talking about his credit limit. Oh, she Hustle Smart showed her pictures about his credit limit. I'm just like, what is she trying to do? Did you see she's a catfish? I don't I don't know. Maybe that's just not a good angle, but like it's she caused it, by constantly talking about people's looks and stuff like that. So yeah. What's the last thing about Alexis that I'm gonna say? Oh yes, Alexis. The same thing about respect your elders. You disrespected Kiki Loves Nigeria. I didn't like that at all. See, you're here talking about Dynast is mean, Dynast is, and actually, let me say this. I've never heard anyone say Dynast is mean. I've heard people say that he's nonchalant, which to me is just part of his character. Like there's some people that are just nonchalant. Dynast actually reminds me a lot about myself. I'm socially awkward. I'm pretty nonchalant. I'm pretty reserved and quiet as well. So when she was like saying all of Dinah's vices, I was like, oh, I kind of see myself a little bit in this. So I kind of understand it, which is why I'm probably being a little more understanding than I should be. But speaking about people's personal lives, people's private lives, and then you disrespecting Kiki Loves Nigeria, who is she is just such an awesome, accomplished woman, and she does not see she one thing I do appreciate about Kiki Loves Nigeria is she holds a lot of people accountable. Like she has been on Black Acres of the Gambia's necks for years. Like she very analytical, doesn't have a problem with anyone. I don't understand how you could be so rude to someone like that. Someone who you asked to be neutral, someone who you asked to get their opinion on the whole Dinah situation. And because Kiki refused to call Dinah the scammer, you all of a sudden got upset, called her out of her name. You called her old and dry. Now you were complaining about Dynast and them being misogynistic, but it's okay for you to call an older woman old and dry? Like, how can you say that? Like, I love listening to Kiki Loves Nigeria. I love listening to the things that she used to say that her parents used to tell her, because she's older, so she's talking about the stories of back in the day, and I think she lives in Ohio or something, just all the stories that her grandparents used to tell. She's a very, very important source for your history, you know? So to just disrespect her like that on live, I feel like was very uncalled for. Very, very uncalled for. And let me go ahead and find out real quick. I will be leaving very soon, only because I feel like I got to the point of the video. I mean, I'm not trying to bash you, Alexis, but I just feel like, I don't know, I just feel like you really showed a lot of your character flaws. Like you were trying to expose other people's character flaws, but instead you actually ended up exposing your own vices. And I'm actually looking to see and wait because I know Dynast is not going to respond. He's not that type of guy. But I want to see and wait if Brandon is going to say anything because I know Brandon has dirt on you. And I'm sure Hustle Smart must have some dirt on you. So the way that you nonchalantly just spilled everyone else's secrets, I'm waiting to see if they'll respond back to you. And if they do, I wouldn't blame them, unfortunately, because you took it there. So, yeah.
Hello.
Hey, Alexis, how you doing? Let me go through these comments real quick.
Oh, yes. This is when Alexis called into Kiki's Love Nigeria live stream. And Alexis just assumed that Kiki was saying bad things about her, and she kind of just, yeah, let it blow.
Kiki, do you have a will get African? What? Do I have or will I get African citizenship? I never really thought about that. I'm quite satisfied with my blue passport that gets me straight through the line. So, nah, I kind of like my blue passport. I like slamming my blue passport down on the counter. So, no, I haven't thought about that. I probably will never do that. Hi, Alexis. I think you ought to get the link. Okay, she got the link. Alexis is entitled to believe whatever she wants. Kiki is entitled to believe. Exactly. I'm entitled to believe whatever I want to believe. And everybody else can believe whatever they want to believe. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion. Okay. Apparently, you told Brandon you like Dynas. Well, Brandon said that. We all know Brandon said that last night. After 4 hours, I wouldn't drop SHIT unless she paid for it. Yeah, y'all, we can't be on here long. If Black Americans want to participate, back to America. Okay. Okay, Alexis, you can talk though while I put these up here. For righteous, can you tell me what it, okay, you can go ahead and start talking. Infatuation on who would.
Hello.
Go ahead.
I just want to know exactly like what you said for me to like understand like what's going on.
Sweetie, I can't go back over 4 hours of what I said. I said a lot in 4 hours.
So just give me a brief of what you said in one.
I can't do that. I can't give you a brief of 4 hours. I can tell you the topics that we talked about. We talked about the four issues that I was getting. We talked about the cost. Let me go back up here and look at the outline real good. And then we can go on your channel, and I can get on your channel and I can answer questions on there. But I can't go back through the whole show for 4 hours. I just can't do that. I don't have the energy to do that, for one, because this was too long. This was a lot of information. All right. So we said that.
Okay. Can I say something?
Yeah.
Okay. So like, just from the gist, it just seems like you just switched up, because it's like when I privately talked to you on the phone, you seemed like the energy was good. You was very agreeing with what I was saying. And now like there seems to be a switch up. So that's why I'm asking you, what did you say?
Where did I switch up? What part did I switch up?
I'm asking you, what did you say?
No, because there's no switch up. There's no switch up. There's no switch up. I don't switch up.
Yes, you are switching up, Kiki.
Well, tell me, how am I switching up?
Okay, when I was on the phone with you, you wanted to stay on the phone for hours. And now that I'm on live with you in public, it seems like you have some type of aggression towards me, and I'm confronting you and I'm asking you, what did you say? And you're too scared to say it.
I'm not too scared to say anything.
So say it.
I'm tired. And I refuse.
Oh, now you're tired.
I refuse to go back.
See, you Alexis, fake. You're fake.
Okay, Alexis, you are entitled to say whatever you want to say.
Whatever you want to say to me while I'm right here.
You asked me what to talk about. Will you let me tell you? You keep interrupting me.
All right, so go.
So we talked about the trips that were overpriced. I compared the prices with other tours, 3 other tours, companies. And we compared the prices, and we found that the Dynas Amir's price was actually the cheapest price out of all of them. And he offered more than any other companies. We were also surprised to find out that African American Ancestry offers the same trip, and 3 other companies offer the same trip. Okay. Three other companies do the same thing Dinah Samir does. So the lady who wrote you and said that he stole that from her, that couldn't possibly be true, because does that mean the other 3 ladies stole that?
And I don't believe that on the whole entire
Okay,
program.
so let me finish. After we talked about that, we talked about were Black Americans being put in was Dinah's putting Black Americans in compromising situations. We went through each video. We went through the Mende video, and we went through the Timbe video. And I talked about those videos and my concerns with those videos to you.
Mm-hmm.
So we talked about that. Then we went over Dynas's refund policy. Dynas's refund policy is in line with everybody else's refund policy. Nobody gives refunds. One company gave a refund, and that was in the UK, and that was only if you had insurance.
Okay, so what did you tell me, Kiki? What did you tell me privately, Kiki?
What did I tell you privately about what?
You have amnesia? What did you tell me, Kiki, privately?
Alexis, what did I say?
You said that even though that he has a refund policy,
yes,
that
he should have gave you the money back.
Can I talk?
Sure.
You said that he should at least bend his policy because of my glitch, and that he should have gave me back the money, right? That's what you said, right?
Alexis, if you would have been on my show, you would have known that I said that. I said that, and I said that I went over that with Dinah, and I said we went back and forth, and I even talked about how he should have given you the money, and I agree with you, and I've always told you that I agree that he should have given you the money back. I agree with you 100%. I'm going to finish the 4 points, and then I'm going to get off here because I'm tired. Okay. I'm tired. I'm sorry. Once I saw the videos, it didn't go the way you thought it was going to go. I don't know how you thought it was going to go. I don't even know how you thought it was going to go.
You told me that it's going to be neutral, but now that I'm on live, you switching up with your energy, which comes off fake. So what else did you say?
Girl, wait, but you ain't gonna be talking to me like that. Hey, come on. We grown women on Kiki Love Nigeria. We don't talk to each other like that.
The way that this lady is talking is different from how she was talking to me privately.
You know what, Alexis?
No, I'm being for real.
Let me tell you I don't really care what you say. I don't really care what you say.
Okay, what else did you say? What else did you say?
This is my last point, ma'am. And then I'm going to get off of here because I'm tired. Okay?
What else did you say?
We talked about the trip's itinerary, that it was outdated and it had logistical issues. Okay? We talked about that. And that was it. We went over those 4 points. And we've been on here for 4 hours. I presented the information and I commented. I present the information and then I give my commentary. That's what I do. I give my commentary and I give my opinion.
Okay. So I want to say one thing.
Sure. I give my commentary and I give my opinion. That's what we do over here.
Okay. So what I want to say is, for everybody that's listening, the way that this lady was talking to me privately, she was agreeing with a lot of what I was saying. She was defending me to Dinah.
But you can't say that, Alexis. If you're going to say I was agreeing with you, say no, you're going to have to say the whole thing, ma'am. Say what I was agreeing with you about. Because I say what I was agreeing with you was about. I was agreeing with you about that Dinah needed to give you the money back. It was good customer service. That's what I agreed with you about. Did I ever agree with you that Dinah Samir was a scammer? No, I did not. No, I did not.
First of all, I never said directly that Dinah was a scammer.
No, I did not. So I don't know what is there. So that's all we talked about was the $400. And your issues.
Why lady switched up on me, you guys?
Girl, I don't know. What did you mean switch up? How did I switch? What did you think I was going to do? What did you think I was going to do? Come on. What did you think?
So let me talk.
No, I'm going to let you talk on your channel. You don't want nothing on my channel. I don't care if you think I'm fake. I don't care what you say about me, but you can't tell me where I'm fake.
was different, and now she all a whole
Oh,
different.
my energy is different. My energy is different. Maybe because I'm on a live and I've been on here for 4
I
hours.
wouldn't be surprised if you was paid to defend Dynasty.
Oh Lord, Dynasty.
Oh my god. So the amnesia comment killed me, and I wouldn't be surprised if you were paid to defend. If you were paid to defend Dinas. Dinas does not need to pay anyone to defend him. Trust me. There are people out here who see him as a god. They wake up, eat, breathe Dinas. It's not a problem. Really, and other people have touched on this already. I really do feel like Alexis was upset that Kiki was not going to say that Dynast is a scammer, that she agrees with everything that Alexis brought up. That was really the problem. It wasn't about anything else. Like, Alexis felt like she wasn't being vindicated by Kiki. But Kiki is no one's friend. She's just here reporting what she's reporting. And I believe like her analysis was very fair. So, I mean, I it's like if you have a private conversation about something that happened to you and the person goes like, "Yeah, I agree with you. I see your point. I see your point." Doesn't necessarily mean that they agree with you wholeheartedly. And that was prior to Kiki even doing her investigation because Kiki spoke with Prince Dynastamir and she watched Alexis's video. So she got the other side from Prince Dynastamir, and that's what she was reporting on. So, I mean, I don't know. I feel like the girl is really hurt, and I don't know. The only thing that I really just don't like is how she had to attack everybody, talk about people's personal business, talk about people's private business. And I also don't like the gender war that it created. Like, I noticed some people were just defending Alexis because she's a girl. Like, oh, she's a girl, she's a damsel in distress. Mean old Dynus went after her. Mean old Brandon went after her. So we must protect her. Like the whole simping thing. I saw a lot of that. And then on the other hand, I saw some women you know, protect Dynast as well because, Dynast looks the way that he looks and some people want to get with him. And oh, yes, I forgot to mention, Alexis did try to put blame on Dynast for taking advantage of women. Um she kept on commenting about how Dynast uses his looks, to get out of certain situations, to get a lot of women to sponsor him and on his trips and this is what I think, right? If we're cool with OnlyFan models having simps, pay for their lifestyles and like using their looks to benefit them and make them a lot of money, then this is not completely the same situation. But if Dynast benefits from his looks in this situation, and if you want to infantilize women and make it seem like they're not capable of making their own decisions, that they don't have the agency and the choice to splurge all their money on Dynast because they want to, then I don't see a problem. I really don't. If that's what Dynast is doing, let him do it. Women do that stuff all the time. I don't see women complaining about that. But when Dynast does it, now all of a sudden, oh, he's using his looks to do this. He's using his looks to do that. Let him do it. I don't care. It's his money. I mean, it's their money too, and they don't care. Like if someone has $5,000 to go on a trip with Dynast, and they're literally only going on the trip to be close to Dynast because they want to be one of his love interests, what does that have to do with me? Is that breaking the law? No. Okay, so I don't care. Like I really don't care. You know what I mean? Alexis, that's kind of pocket watching, and that's kind of hating, and you gotta like not do that. So
Paid me. Like I said, lady, you got a YouTube channel, just like I do. You want to talk, go on your YouTube channel. I'm tired.
Yeah, I'm gonna address the situation after I watch the playback, and hopefully you was being truthful, like how you was really being.
Oh,
truthful.
I don't have to lie. I don't have to lie.
Let's just see. Let's just see.
I don't have to lie. Everything I said to you, I said to them. Every single thing. Because that's what I do.
You coming at me as if like I'm lying about something.
I didn't say you was lying about anything. Did I say she was lying about anything, y'all?
So why did your energy change when I came on here? You acting some type of way, and then when I'm talking to you privately, you're all warm and agreeing with someone.
Because we're on the phone, we're having we're having a phone conversation, and it's not a live video, and you're talking to me about an issue, and I'm trying to be understanding. That's what it's called, Alexis. I'm trying to be empathetic.
Oh, Alexis thought a phone conversation could buy loyalty. You know, Alexis thought a phone conversation meant that Kiki's your friend. Like, she's my girl. She's gonna defend me through whatever. Oh my goodness. This is the youth of Alexis coming out for sure.
Pathetic. I'm trying to be sympathetic.
But why were you prolonging trying to have me speak, and then you're trying to avoid talking to me?
Y'all, see this? See what I'm talking about, y'all? That's why I didn't want to give her the link, righteous folks. Now she's saying I'm avoiding talking to her. I stayed on here longer to talk to her because
you're not trying to have me speak all the way. You're cutting me off. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me because you was acting a whole different way, and I'm trying to let the audience understand that.
But you're not telling them how I was acting. You said I was nice and warm. Yes,
I was nice and warm. And now that I'm on here, you acting real shady and laughing. Meanwhile, you wasn't laughing privately.
No, I'm not gonna laugh. I'm not. You're telling me something, Alexis.
This is not funny. I'm being all
you
serious.
Told me something.
I'm being serious with everything and putting out my truth. This is not a laughing matter. I'm dead ass.
Well, you might be, but the rest of the people on here are not. And the people on here are telling jokes, so I'm laughing at them. And it's my YouTube channel, and I can laugh at them if I want to. I can laugh at them if I want to, but for some reason, it sounds like you thought that I was going to come on here and attack Dinah Samir for you.
Nobody said
I wasn't doing that.
Because we had a private conversation.
I wasn't doing that. I'm not going to attack this man for you or anybody else. If he's a scammer, then I'm going to say he's a scammer. But Alexis, he's not a scammer, honey. I've told you, I don't know what happened between you and Dinah's. I don't know. But I've told you from day one, this is personal. This is personal. It has nothing to do with Kiki Loves Nigeria. I kept telling you there's more to the story than
Kiki,
this.
Are you going to let me speak, or are you just
going? No, I'm not. You're gonna go to your channel, and
you told me that this was
your channel. You're gonna go to your ma'am. I'm gonna pull her off now because you don't run my channel, ma'am. I've been on here for I don't know how many hours, and now you want to come on here talking about you didn't know. You didn't know, and that she's fake because when you talk to her on the phone, she's real nice and warm. Hey, you didn't know, too bad then. I'm not going to stay on here and explain it to you, what I said. It's my channel. I can say what I want to say. Hard to trust it. It is. You can't trust nobody. They have their own motivations. You, especially YouTube people. You thought she would cap for you. Like this man. Do you like this here man? Because I was who I am as a person.
Okay. So that was basically the argument. The very, very last thing I wanted to talk about is how this has created kind of like this created a separation in the whole Pan African community that these self proclaimed Pan Africans, I call them self proclaimed because a lot of them just say they're Pan African, but then if you could just call yourself a Pan African, right? Then what gives the right of someone else to say you're not Pan African? This is where I have to be critical of Afro think tank. And this is not me saying anything bad about his character. I'm just being critical of the things that he said, of the things and the claims that he said in this video, right? Because in this video, he goes on to say that Brandon and Prince Dinas Demir are not true Pan-Africans because so and so and so and so. So the question I have is, why do you get the right to say that these people are not real Pan-Africans because you don't agree with their political views, you don't agree with this situation and them defending of defending themselves against Alexis Fowler? How does that break Pan-Africanism when all of you guys say you're Pan-African? So, like, like that's what I don't understand. That's why I was asking in the beginning, why is there this problem with defining Pan-Africanism when I thought all of you guys were Pan-African? And even if you guys are not friends anymore, you guys can still be part of different sectors of Pan-Africanism, right? I don't really like that whole I'm going to determine who's a real Pan-African and who's not, because I really don't know who's supposed to be doing that. Like, I don't know who's supposed to be, like, dubbing this person as Pan-African and then removing someone else from the Pan-African group. I'm very critical of that, so that's just a personal thing for me, but this 22-minute video, let me just try to play a little bit. I haven't even finished watching.
On everybody, this Afro think tank. Today, I want to talk about this Alexis Fowler and her review and critique on Dinas Emir's business practices and the whole altercation, and everything, and Brandon and that whole thing, right? Because she's, complain, she has issues with Brandon too, which obviously, I understand that, right? And usually, as a Pan-African, I'm a real Pan-African. As a real Pan-African, I try to avoid talking or criticizing other Pan-Africans because it's literally the point of Pan-Africans, we're supposed to close ranks, right? So if we have issues within Pan-Africanism, which is in the house, global Black Africans together, we try to keep it in-house as to not give the enemy any ammunition on us to divide us, right? Because we're all trying to work towards a better future for all Black people. So under the guy.
Oh, and I must say, I actually do like Afro think tank, but I'm just shocked that everyone is not getting along. And yeah, I'm just really shocked about this. Yes, Brandon replied to this, and I'd rather just watch Afro think tank's version. Because I don't know, I just feel like Afro think tank has more of a calm, like, personality, and he's more like wise beyond his years. But for this to affect Afro think tank is a very serious matter, because this guy, I would say, is one of the more serious ones on here. Like, he's very, very anyways, he's a trailblazer too, because he went to Nigeria and doing really good things. But yeah, let me play the video.
Sides of real Pan-Africanism, I don't talk shit about other Pan-Africans. Y'all never see me come on the internet and talk shit about another Pan-African. You never see me do it. Even if that Pan-African said something that was, off or if they did something, they made a mistake, or because, you know, everybody on YouTube is like crabs in the barrel, looking for the next person to fall, looking for the next person to make a mistake so they can jump on it, right? Jump on the controversy, get likes, clicks, and views. Everybody's just become just a bunch of vultures, right? Vultures, right? And if you look at, and Alexis Fowler, she was one of the very first Black business women who decided to attempt to do some very serious commercial advertising in the Pan-African sphere, right? She hit me up when I was doing my lives and stuff, and, you know, and she gave me proposals where, you know, if I advertised, I would get a referral fee. And I mean, she do square business. Like, she approached me. It's just that I don't do enough lives. And that's the reason why I never did business with Alexis Fowler, because I'm not consistent enough to really be a part of her affiliate program. Plus, also, I don't really like to do too many affiliates because I like to be free to do what I want to do. And I like my workflow. I just don't like to, you know, I like to be free and independent so I can say whatever I want to say. And I don't want anybody else to have to be attached to me after I say some crazy shit, right? So I was watching Alexis Fowler for a while. She was doing, I was like, man, I was really proud and happy to see that, man, we got Pan-Africans, they're doing panels. This is at the beginning, right? When Brandon first came out and Dynas was pumping, he was doing shows and it was a few other people, and I actually started to take it seriously, right? And I was like, all right, we got a little network going on, there's a little some stuff. I thought, you know, something's going on, but I always was worried about Dynas. Like, even though Dynas had a show where there was one guy who really inspired me about Nigeria, is an old, real light-skinned dude that he affiliates with in Nigeria. This dude's super intelligent. He talks a whole lot, but he's old head, super intelligent. I would sit and listen to that dude talk for hours, right? But then I just noticed something. It was something about Dynas. I was like, because I used to do sales, right? And I'm very worldly and intelligent. I used to do sales. As soon as I see Dynas, he reminds me of a used car salesman. As soon as, like, his whole demeanor, everything says snake in the grass to me. Sorry. I mean, and I used to be conflicted because I'm like, he ain't never do a damn thing to me, right? he just got the look, like, and it's just the thing. Certain people just look like that, and he's a salesperson, and all salespeople look that way. That's just how I look at it. But he's a Pan-African. I'm like, man, you know, I support Dynas. You know, I support his channel. You know, I saw he had, you know, he started to do tour. I supported everything that everybody was doing. But then over time, but I never went on Dynas' channel because it was always something. I said, you know what? I don't want to affiliate with these people for some reason. I made videos talking about why we should not affiliate, you know, with certain groups until you really know who they are. Sometimes you gotta let people talk enough so you can figure out who they are. And it was just something about Dynas that always kept me away from his channels. People would email me because they would associate me and Dynas because he was Nigeria. He was doing the Nigeria thing before me. So not so many people doing the Nigeria thing. So we got affiliated. But I noticed he never, like, and we supposed to be Pan-African. I would share his videos. He don't share none of my videos. He never.
He just said it right there. If anyone missed it, he just said it right there. Dynas don't share his videos. That's it. That's it. That's why he's mad. So what does this have to do with him being a salesperson? I really don't like this. I really don't like how there's sides now between Alexis and Dynas. I mean, I know I was very critical of Alexis, and I know I said, Alexis, you're wrong. The reason why I said you're wrong is because you brought it online. That's it. You know, I'm not saying Dynas is perfect, but you spilled a little too much information about Brandon and you know, Brandon and who's hustle smart, AFR, other people who have absolutely nothing to do with this. So I'm extra mad and angry at you about this. But now you got everybody coming out of the woodwork and choosing sides and saying, I like Dynas. I don't like Dynas. He was always a snake. I don't think that Afro think tank being shared angry that Dynas does not share his videos is valid. I'm not saying that's not valid, but does that make him a fake Pan-African? I want to see if he talks anything about other than videos, just to be sure if he's really mad about the videos or something else.
Acknowledge my existence.
Or wait, I just watched the beginning of the video. It's just his affiliation with Alexis because he's friends with Alexis, I guess, right? So that's pretty much it, I guess.
And I was like, that's kind of crazy, you know, because we got two Black guys, you know, we trying to push this Pan-African thing. Okay, I see this, all right. Then I noticed that a lot of the topics were controversial clickbait topics that would get people pissed off. They click, and I said, I didn't like that. I didn't like that bait and switch. That's that. Let me piss somebody off and make them click the video, and then that was the reason. So I was like, that's not very Pan-African because it's promoting. If you constantly talking about negative trigger topics that get black people pissed off at other black people, or if you're constantly talking about topics that reinforce that black people are just inherently fucked up or we got inherent problems, and I started to think, what are we doing here, right? I said, where's the Pan-African part, right? Because as a Pan-African, you're supposed to promote positivity, positive images of black people.
Okay, Afro think tank. I'm trying to be very careful with the words I use about Afro think tank because I mean, he doesn't bother anybody, so this isn't nothing against him, but I have to disagree with what he's saying. I don't feel like Pan-Africanism is all about it just has to be like PG rated and 100% positive, and if you're being critical of another black person or if you have clickbait black titles, because let's look at Phil Scott. Some people consider the African diaspora, Phil Scott, to be a Pan-African platform. I personally don't, but it doesn't matter because who cares, right? He has a lot of clickbait WS topics. And if you watch that channel, you know exactly what Phil Scott calls a WS. Okay? He always has videos of that. I get that's like a different race and everything, but he also has videos of black people not in the best light and like black people being pissed off at each other. So I don't know if that's enough to hate on Dynast. Like I just feel like some people are just over critical of Dynast. Like I don't know. I don't know.
Is a mascot for white racists who are reacting because America had the nerve to elect a black president. Keep that in mind, right? Like Indian, that racism doesn't exist. They love Donald Trump.
Okay, no.
Small offense for $5,000. Are you crazy? That's robbery, right? That is highway. Now, the one with the passport, I mean, that's what's up because you get a passport. But listen, if you ain't getting no passport, and you paying $4,500. And if I'm paying $5,000 for 10 days in Africa, I better have 5-star service for $5,000. If I'm coming out my pocket $5,000 for 10 measly days in Africa, because honestly, 10 days is not enough in Africa. 10 days is not enough to do anything in Africa, really. You can't see nothing in 10 days. You got to be there for a while because things move slow. Bro, for $5,000, that shit better be smooth. I better not have to think about nothing. Everything on my itinerary better be right. Customer service better be on point and all that. And that's why I never got involved because I'm like, I cannot provide the service necessary for the amount of money I would have to charge my people to come and have an African experience. I refuse to ruin an African experience. I refuse for my people to have a bad experience because I'm greedy. And the thing is, money is the root of all evil. And a lot of these Negroes out here pretending to be Pan-Africans so they can take your money and put it in their pocket. They make Pan-Africanism look bad. Brandon,
but what's wrong with Dynast Amir making a lot of money and putting in his pocket? And then he's circulating that money with Africans on the continent, as well as, African Americans, other black people that are here, like he's circulating, making business. I mean, of course, he's self-interested, so he's in the business of, garnering a huge profit for himself, which makes sense. But I mean, if you don't want to buy a tour from Dynast Amir, would you rather buy a tour from a South African who's not a native South African? Because this Pan-Africanism goes really, really deep. They'd even say, okay, South Africans who are not native South Africans are actually not South Africans, right? So it's like, I'm trying to say what I'm saying without actually saying it, but I thought it didn't matter so long as the person was black, that if they're making money, it's cool. So I don't know what's up with this whole sector of Pan-Africanism, and there are just so many rules, and I never knew Pan-Africanism was this rigid, and this Alexis Fowler thing is it's really dividing this online community, and I just find it to be extremely interesting to see how easily people's egos can be hurt and bruised, and to really see the little it takes behind the scenes to cause such a divide on a group that I thought would be more understanding, a group that I thought really actually cared about brotherhood, camaraderie, and all of that. It's kind of all being tested right in front of our eyes, and this is, if they think that this is making people want to join their movement, it's actually pushing a lot of people away, and it's giving way to a whole bunch of groups, staunch FBA, staunch ADOS, staunch anti-Pan-African groups, fuel to say, why would we join with you guys when you guys can't even stand for one thing and get along with each other? And I thought that them trying to protect the image of Pan-Africanism would cause them to be more cognizant about that, but it's shocking and amazing to me how they seem to not care that their egos, their individual egos, and being right and showing him and showing her is more important than showing this togetherness that they always preach about. And I'm not talking about one person in particular. I'm talking about all of them, all of them who identify with this, and would fight and argue with people in comment sections about, hey, this is the ideology to go with, and this is what's happening right now. Yet you guys want to come here in 2024 and have people take you seriously when we see all of your infighting. Now, I'm not saying family doesn't fight. I'm not saying family don't have brawls, but does it have to be this messy where everyone can see? Like like if you are, I'm not going to name any names, but if you are any of these people that I played in the video, right, or I played in the live stream, and you were to come to me in January 2024, right, and you were to tell me, hey, please invest in my business, and I were to Google your name and any of these videos popped up, I would be very, very skeptical. Just like, this is what you do to your own friends, this is what you do to your own family, this is what you do to your own Pan-African brothers. Why would I do anything with you? So I think that people who really say that they're Pan-African, they're dying for this cause, they're doing whatever, look at what you guys are showing that Pan-Africanism is, yet other groups seem to be more united. Like, other groups who are not Pan-African are more united, and you're actually recruiting people out of Pan-Africanism. You're pushing them away from Pan-Africanism. So I don't know. I don't know what they'll do with that information, but I really would like one of them to specifically respond to that point. How does your Pan-Africanism look when all of you guys are separating from each other? It's not good.
Calls himself Gucci Man strikes back, conservative strike back. And the thing is, he's a struggle cooner because you can't get the white audience. You can't grift the white audience when your name is Pan-African. So you doing all this heavy lifting, and it ain't translating into money. Change your damn name. Like the rest of the coons, they got nice coon names. Get yourself a nice coon name, you know what I'm saying? So that the white man can find you on the internet. Brandon should just go with Brandon. There's a whole bunch of Brandon coons out there. They all got Brandon. I don't know what it is. Dynast, he's a salesperson. He's just a salesperson. I don't think he's a coon. Well, he probably is. If he's a Trump supporter, he's a coon, as far as I'm concerned. And that's why I feel comfortable talking about them, because they're coons. And
my gosh.
They take advantage of people. And they make Pan-Africanism look bad. And Alexis Fowler, one of the first businesswoman, and I was wondering how long was it going to take before Alexis Fowler stopped advertising her business on their channels, because it was starting to make her look bad. Because I was like, is Alexis Fowler a fucking Trump supporting white supremacist coon shield? They're gonna say that you're a, they're gonna question you because you're a woman. So they're gonna say that you're, some kind of, maybe you wanted to do something with somebody, or you wanted to, what they're gonna do is disrespect women, disrespect black people, disrespect the whole. Dude, Brandon says shit like, I wish, he'll say I love the white man. I've seen him say he loves the white man. He'll say stuff like, F Dr. Martin Luther King. He wish he would have died. He wish he stayed in jail. Every pro-black leader that did what he had to do at the time that he thought was best, Brandon says he's against that person. He's against every pro-black leader, and he has literally talked shit and belittled every one of them. The legends, right? He said that Dr. Martin Luther King if you go on his Twitter, he said Dr. Martin Luther King's house should have been burnt down. He wished he was burnt down. Like, what kind of Pan-African say shit like that? What kind of He is not Pan-African. He is the biggest. God,
Wow,
like,
this
and then you
is
look at the
bad.
comments, everybody's like, bruh. And I think maybe he's trying to get like somebody to go viral, but it's not working because he don't got no titties. See, if he was a woman, then it would have worked, because people like to see black women do that, because we get to look at the woman, right, and their titties while they be coons. Nobody wants to look at nobody wants to, Brandon. Nobody's gonna look at that. That's not gonna make money. You know what I'm saying? So all I'm saying is, Alexis Fowler, you did a good job disassociating yourself with these fake Pan-Africans. Please do not. And the people who are disappointed at these guys and thought that these were the representation of Pan-African, please don't let these people discourage you from the Pan-African movement. Real Pan-Africanism exists. People like me, real Pan-Africans, we exist. You got Maximum Impact? Go to take his tour. Maximum Impact. Look this guy up. He's a black guy. I think he's about out of DC. He's an older gentleman. If you want to go on a tour, if you want to spend your money and go on a real tour with a real pro-black Pan-African, and you want to go and you want to have a good experience, Maximum Impact. Look him up. Maximum Impact. That guy, you go on his tour, it's going to be professional. The itinerary is going to be correct. He's going to come correct, and you're going to enjoy your experience. Your money, when you spend your money, you're going to get your money's worth. I'm telling you, all right? That's a real, separate these grifters like Bomani and fucking that other widow.
Oh my God.
Those are not pro-black. Bomani wants to be a god, all right? And the other fucking guy that be with him, Bomani, the old mean guy, that motherfucker, they library. Them dudes are all grifters. Leave them. They're not pro.
Gosh, she's talking about Bomani and collagenesis. Oh my gosh, what happened? I thought all these people were cool and tight with each other. What happened? Oh my goodness, what happened? I'm just shocked. Yes, socio-political divergence. The movement was bound to be tested by alternative idea. Yep. Pan-Africanism is incredibly ideological. If you can't agree on what it looks like, the group will dissolve. Yep. Um, I did find it interesting how he was calling Brandon a conservative, and I mean, I didn't know that mattered. I didn't know that being a conservative or liberal, right wing or Democrat, whatever, I didn't know any of that stuff mattered, but it definitely does. And it steeps down to their business practices, which makes a lot of sense. Um, how open they are with different policies and things like that. Who they vote for, So a lot of this stuff makes a lot of sense, and I really do think that I really do think it has a lot to do with the economy and the global recession that we're still in, and people just trying to belong somewhere and really trying to, because basically people are arguing with Dynas that he charges too much, right? And that his tours are too expensive, and that only a certain demographic or group of people can um, afford to go on these trips. And I do agree with that, but I don't see how it has to be so like clear cut and rigid, you know? And I really don't think politics should be at the forefront of anything we're talking about if we're talking about such an ideology like this. But hey, at the end of the day, it has nothing to do with me. I'm not even in that country. I don't agree with politics, but hard, soft governments determine the stability of communities that are at risk of becoming a permanent underclass. Depending on the faction you support, it could impact on immigration, business prospects, community agendas. Yup. I really do think that this is the wrong time to be so rigid, you know, on political differences. Right now, they need to think about strength in numbers, but having all these splits is just going to cause more confusion, more division. And I can already see with this split that Alexis's group is going to have one like ultimate leader versus, I guess, Dynas's group having another leader or figurehead. And yeah, like, well, it's already happened anyway, but it's very, very interesting. They are turning Pan-Africanism into basketball. Yeah, I know, it's crazy. This is very interesting. And I can't wait to see more response videos to this because I really want to see where this goes. But one thing I find interesting is, or I might actually quite find it sad as well, is how about the viewers who are just watching this and they're actually taking sides against these YouTube personalities as if they actually know them in real life? Because, I mean, I would only be inclined to really lean towards one side if maybe I was friends with somebody on these, like if I was friends with Afro Think Tank, it would make sense for me to go with Afro Think Tank. But how about the people who are just watching, like the viewers and the commenters who are actually riding for these people? And I'm just like, listen, if they can dish each other's secrets out after a minor falling out, keep me away from these people. Please don't know my real name. Please don't know my address. Please don't know what I look like because I am scared of these people now. I'm terrified. I do not want to know. I do not want to know any of these people on a personal level after, you know, viewing all of this. Oh man. Okay, so I'm just gonna play the last 2 minutes of this video and then we're gonna sign out for today.
Go back, they're not Pan-African. They don't represent the real Pan-African movement that's actually happening with real Pan-African people that have the resolve to say, you know what, I care about my people more than money. I care about my people more. If they're begging for your money, they're not Pan-African. Unless they got something like a fundraiser that they're building to do something for people and it's like a true transparent thing, then they're begging for your money. They're all grifters. Just like they're in the racists on the white side of YouTube and the white side of social media, all those fake racists, they're not really racist. They're grifting their white people. They're grifting their audience to get the money out their pockets into their pockets. So they will feed them all the pro-white, pro-European, pro-white power grift. We as subscribers, we as consumers of information have to start being more responsible with the information that we receive. We can't just be taking these people for face value, right? We have to be more responsible because at some point, it's our fault that we allow faulty information. It's our fault that we let used car salesmen, snake oil salesmen use the sentiment of the people, use real legitimate movements for financial gain solely. There's nothing wrong with making money in Pan-Africanism. It's part of it. Economic and social cooperation, right? But at the same time, there's a difference between real Pan-Africanism and real economic and social cooperation and fucking scamming and grifters. All right. And we as consumers, we need to be more responsible and we need to educate ourselves so when we can see.
You know, one thing I will say about Afro Think Tank is you can tell he really does care about the actual ideology. And one thing I do appreciate about uh, Afro Think Tank, which has been a criticism of Prince Dinas Samir and Brandon, which I actually do agree with, is I don't see Afro Think Tank like disrespect his group of women, which I love that. I don't really also see Afro Think Tank like being very like I'm trying to sell you something that I'm not living in myself. I commend him for that as well. And I don't see Afro Think Tank as someone who doesn't like his actual culture. Like he goes to Nigeria to experience something different, but he doesn't go to Nigeria to be like, I'm Nigerian and like screw everything about my actual, background and lineage. Like I appreciate that about him as well. Um, so yeah, I really don't really have anything bad to say about Afro Think Tank. I was just critical of, you know, just critical of how do we really know who's a real Pan African or not? But I do see that he actually cares about it. And he cares about the elements and the organic Pan Africanism, and he is quick to defend Pan Africanism against other Pan Africans. I like that. I like that he's that willing to stand for what he believes in to the point where he'll challenge anyone. Like he has no problem challenging a dynasty. He has no problem challenging a Brandon, you know? So I appreciate that, you know. I do appreciate that. Yes, yes. I feel like that's what he ultimately does. And he doesn't do it at the spite of anyone else. You know, he does it because morally he feels like it's the right thing to do. So shout outs to him. Never had anything bad to say about him. So uh, I thank you guys for being here. It's been a long night, but that was really, really fun. Thanks everybody for being here. Everybody who showed up. It was impromptu, but like these YouTube streets, hopefully they're lighting up again. It'll be fun to go through everything. And oh yeah, I wanted to ask some people. How do you guys feel about Actually, I'll ask you guys next time. I'll ask you guys next time. Um but yeah, like happy holidays. Have a good week and I will see you guys very very soon. Thank you to everyone who tuned in, stopped by, drop a comment, and everyone else who's going to watch back in the playback. Peace.